And welcome to another Cardinals Nest on HBC Channel 25. Dean Beckman along with Sports Information Director Donny Nadeau. And later on in the program, we will talk softball with a couple of players. No coach this time, Donny. Just third baseman Kellie Simons and outfielder Paige Carter. And one thing I can tell you about them already, they both have an excellent sense of humor, because they've been laughing at my jokes offset. So
well,
I like
somebody laughs at your jokes, because you know I'm not going to. It's nice to have both of them on. Maybe we can get them to tell us some Jen Miller stories since Jen's not here. Not sure if they'll do that or not, but you know, it'd be nice to maybe get a little behind-the-scenes look at Coach Miller too.
Right. Well, you know, Kellie might. I mean, she's a senior, so she has nothing to lose, right?
That's right.
But Paige, on the other hand, only a sophomore. She might be a little more reserved.
If Paige continues to play the way she has this summer, this spring, Jen's not going to have a choice but to have to play her. So I think Paige right now could say just about anything and still be able to get in the
And
line.
Donny, this is our second last Cardinals Nest of the season. We hope to have a couple of baseball players on next week's show, and then that's going to do it for the season.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that the season's already over. We're talking softball and hopefully talking some softball playoffs. And you know, the spring season, it gets cramped into basically a month and a half, and then when you get snow like we've had, it just makes it that much tougher. So it's been a quick season, but you know, a lot to talk about as well.
Yeah, even as we tape this, the softball game set for Thursday is somewhat in question,
right,
because there's still snow on the field. And one spring sport, men's tennis, has already concluded, and we'll get to that a little bit later on. But Donny, we'll talk with Kellie and Paige about the softball team, but before we do that, let's recap their past week a little bit. And it started out back on the 13th of April with really a terrific doubleheader. Both games went into extra innings against Augsburg, and the Cardinals came away with victories in both.
Yeah, two very big wins, and really in both of them it was a come-from-behind effort. Very, very long afternoon and evening of softball for the ladies. They start the game at 4 o'clock, and it ends at about 9:30. So it was definitely a long day for them. But importantly, they came up with two very big wins and got some clutch hits from. Aaron Stenseth had a home run in the first game to win it, and then they got some big hits in the second game as well. Mallory Betzold hit a home run in extra innings of that one, and then they needed a big single and come away with two wins on the road. Very big wins for the Cardinals.
You know, Aaron Stenseth, she has been a clutch player all season. It seems like every time they need a key hit, a key RBI, she provides.
Absolutely. She, as a freshman last year, she stepped in and played every game, and she really picked up right where she left off this year. You worry a little bit, you always hear about the sophomore jinx or the sophomore slump, and we will talk to Paige about it. She didn't have one, or isn't having one. Neither is Erin. She's playing very well, and those are people that Coach Miller really needs to continue to step up and play very good softball, because they're the future of the team. We're going to talk to Kellie, and she'll talk about being the elder statesman and how important it is to pass the torch to these people who are going to have to pick it up and continue to play well. And Paige and Erin are really two of those people that are going to have to do that.
Well, that Augsburg doubleheader was last Wednesday. Then they had a matchup scheduled with Hamlin. That was postponed. That'll be made up on April 22nd. After that, though, it was a Concordia matchup at St. Mary's, and the first game, my goodness, the Cardinals' bats broke out in that one, scoring 14 runs, winning in 5 innings, 14-1, but then the bottom kind of fell out, and that was a Concordia team that the Cardinals needed to sweep that doubleheader, a doubleheader they should have won, and came up just short in that second game, 5-4.
Yeah, second game was tough, and I'm sure if I look out at Paige and Kellie right now, they're probably cringing right now thinking about that game, because it is one that they really let slip. They played so well in that first game, scoring 10 runs in the first inning. It grabbed a 10-0 lead right after their first at bat, and things were just going the way that they wanted them to go. And then, unfortunately, in that second game, they got off to a slow start. Concordia scored 3 runs in the top of the first inning, getting a couple of taking advantage of a couple of St. Mary's errors, and it Cardinals just never were able to get the big hit when they needed it down the stretch, and they did end up losing that one by 1 run. And that's a loss that you can ask anybody top to bottom on that team, and that was one that hurts, and really a win that they let slip through their grasp.
Well, in that first game, both Paige and Kellie went 3 for 3 in that first one when they scored 14 runs. Haley Ohl had a big game. Of course, Katie Gannon continues to belt home runs, so her offensive power continues.
Yeah, I mean, as a team, hitting home runs has become becomes something pretty special. They've got 18 now with Katie's 18 home runs, which is number 2 all time for a single season. They got a ways to go to get to 27 of the record of 27. But for them to be hitting home runs like that is very important, because you can get back into a game really quick, with a big hit like that. And Paige has got a couple of home runs. Aaron's got 4 home runs. Mallory Betzold's got 2 home runs. Kellie's got a home run. So they're getting a lot of power from a lot of different people. Unfortunately, against Concordia in that second game, when they needed that power to step up, it just wasn't there. And they battled right to the end. They had the chance in the 7th inning to tie the game, and they just couldn't get the job done.
Yeah, and Mallory Betzold continues to have a good season on the mound, and then Angie Bates, the freshman pitcher, has had a lot of opportunities, and she continues to sort of grow as a pitcher and figuring out the conference a little bit.
Absolutely, and that's a good way to put it. She continues to grow. It's a learning experience, and any player can attest that freshman year. There's a lot of adjustments. It's a whole different ballgame than it was in high school, and for a pitcher especially, it's a different game, and it takes a lot of time to adjust and get used to it, and really give Mal a lot of credit. She's been throwing a lot of innings in the last couple of weeks and doing a phenomenal job, and really she's doing it not only with her arm, but she's also playing very well, or also hitting very well offensively. She's hitting over 350 as well, and so she's doing it both as a pitcher and as a batter, so it's good to see her have a great senior year as well.
And there you see the Cardinals still in 4th place, and that's where they have to stay in order to win a conference playoff berth, Donnie. A lot of conference games coming up against some very good teams, and as we found out with Concordia, anyone can beat anyone in the MIAC, and so they want to stay in 4th, but still a lot of games to go with all the makeups and everything.
Absolutely, and really Mother Nature is going to play a big role in this, because the more the games get postponed, the farther they get pushed back, and really the Cardinals only have 2 weeks to deal with, because the MIAC tournament is the 6th and 7th of May, so that whole week before that they can't play any games. So they've got 2 weeks to get all of their games in, and if they get pushed back now, you're looking at a very short window of time to play a lot of games, and that can certainly have an effect on your pitching and really on your hitting as well. So it's important that they get some nice weather and they get some of these games in, and hopefully this week they'll play, you never know, hopefully they'll play on Thursday against Eau Claire and then Friday against Hamlin, and then they've got a couple of days off, and then they've got a couple of big conference games next week as well. So it's a busy time and really a fun time for the players, because then they don't have to sit through Jen Miller's practices. They get to play all the time. But it's a very important time that they're hitting on all cylinders, and hopefully they can recover from that Concordia loss and just pick up and really play the way that they're capable of playing.
Yeah, let's hope Mother Nature cooperates. Certainly hasn't for the baseball team, Donnie. We only have one doubleheader to talk about, really, as they've had a few postponements as well. And that doubleheader against Augsburg last week, 2 very close games. Coach Nick Winicky was pleased with how the Cardinals played, but they come out on the short end of both games, 6-3 and 2-1. They got good pitching in both, just couldn't get the timely hits.
Absolutely, and we've talked about that so much this year that they haven't been able to put everything together. They get good pitching, they're not getting the hits when they needed them. They get the good offense, and then their pitching struggles a little bit. And the 2 games against Augsburg were a great example. Andrew Ruff and Chris Bogey pitched phenomenal. Both of them had great games, and unfortunately both came out on the losing end. Bogey threw a complete game 6-hitter against Augsburg in the second game, and comes away with a 2-1 loss. So according to Coach Winicky, they just weren't able to get that clutch hit when they needed it. Put a lot of people on base, got the runners in scoring position, but then weren't able to get the runs when they needed them. And unfortunately, that's kind of the way the season's been so far for them. Is that they get some good offensive games. You look at the Finlandia games where they had very good offense, and then the pitching might struggle a little bit. And so they need to be able to put it all together. They've still got a lot of baseball to play, and fortunately for them, Mother Nature hasn't been too terrible. They did lose a doubleheader to Dubuque that they were supposed to play on Tuesday, but those are the only 2 games that they've actually had canceled that they haven't been able to play. Now this week we'll see what happens. They go to St. John's on Wednesday, then they're supposed to play on Saturday, and with the weather predictions the way it is, you never know if that game's going to get in either. So it's kind of a wait and see, and then hurry up and get ready to play.
Yeah, 2 players we haven't talked a lot about here on the Cardinals Nest from the baseball team. Jake Lechner has really been hitting the ball well, and a freshman who we've talked about as a pitcher who is sort of coming on as a hitter is Luke Larson.
Yeah, both of them are doing a very good job, and it's one of those things. Luke's doing a great job both offensively and defensively, and for Jake is one of those people people that, you know, he just loves to be at the ballpark, and he'll give you 100% every time he steps on the field. And, you know, it's nice to see him back now. He got hurt in Phoenix. Injured his shoulder, actually separated his shoulder, making trying to dive into third on a hit and run, and you know, he came back about 2 weeks ago and has just been hitting the cover off the ball and doing a great job. And it's really nice for him, being a senior, to really see him come on and play very well, especially after the potential that he wasn't going to play the rest of the year because of that injured shoulder. And he's just doing a phenomenal job. He's playing right field now with Andrew Warren in center, and Vince Lulick in left, so he's at a position he's not used to, and just doing an outstanding job. He has by far the best outfield arm of anybody I've seen in my 16 years here at St. Mary's, and he's just doing a phenomenal job. He can throw that thing on a rope to home plate, and is, you know, offensively, like I said, he's just hitting the cover off the ball. One of the people that we have talked a lot about that's really just having a phenomenal season is Kurt Swanson. Yeah. You know, he leads the team in just about every offensive category. And what's really interesting is he's played 24 of the 26 games that St. Mary's has played. He's been on base at least once in 23 of those 24. He's had a hit in 21 of the 24. So, I mean, he's just doing a phenomenal job of fueling that offense and making sure that he gets on base. And behind the plate, he's been the one that's been calling the pitches for the pitchers, and really doing a great job of calling a very good game. And Kurt's having an outstanding year, and you know, deserves a lot of recognition. He's worked very hard and is playing outstanding baseball.
Let's go to men's tennis, the one sport, and actually we'll cover that when we come back here on the Cardinals Nest. We'll touch on that in a little bit right here on HBC.
Wouldn't it be nice if there was a mobile phone company where you could actually get great customer service? Well, the wait is over. Full mobile phone service is now available at HBC. With plans starting as low as $40 a month on the nation's largest coverage map, HBC Mobile has a plan for everyone. Individual, family, data, they're all available. And they all come with the personal customer service you've come to expect from HBC. Stop in today at 58 Johnson Street, Winona, to see how you can get a free phone. HBC Mobile. Service you can trust.
HD Net Sunday Concerts brings the biggest events in music right to your living room.
The Rolling Stones. Jack Johnson.
Sometimes time doesn't heal.
Paul McCartney.
HD Net Sunday Concerts. Live life loud.
And we're back here on the Cardinals Nest. Donnie and I will cover the tennis and track information a little bit later here on the show. But right now, we welcome in a couple of players from the softball team here at St. Mary's. We have Kellie Simons, the third baseman, and Paige Carter, an outfielder for the Cardinals. Kellie and Paige, welcome to the program. And Kellie, this is old hat for you. You were on the show last year, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and we learned that you were a math major. So now, does that mean you've memorized all of the stats coming in, and we could quiz you a little bit?
Try not to look at the stats too much. So.
All right. Even though generally I think they're pretty good this year.
Yeah, they are.
And you like it at St. Mary's so much, I hear you're going to stick around a little bit longer. Not because you're flunking or not graduating or anything like that, but what are you going to do?
I'll be attending the grad school at St. Mary's next year for my Master's of Arts in Instruction.
All right, so you hope to be a math teacher then, right?
Yes, high school math teacher.
Yeah, okay, good. And Paige, how about you? Tell us where you're from, and this is your first appearance here on the Cardinals Nest, so where are you from, how did you get started with softball, and what brought you to St. Mary's?
All right, I'm from Rosemount, Minnesota. I've played softball ever since I was born. Just came out playing ball. No, I've
had a glove in your hand and everything.
Right. They actually caught me with a glove. What was the other one? How I came here?
Yeah. How did you land here?
I love the location of Winona, the bluffs. You know, it's so pretty when it's not, you know, snowing in April. But it's so nice here. They recruited me to play ball here, and so that's a big thing because I love softball. I don't know. I think that might be it.
Well, Paige, you started out the season on quite the power surge. When you went down to Arizona for your spring trip, you went out and hit, what, 3 home runs down there, right? Were you expecting that kind of power coming into the season?
Absolutely not. No. You don't go in expecting to hit, you know, a couple of grand slams down in Arizona. You know, you don't think like that. I don't, at least. So it was a shock but it was nice.
Yeah.
I'm not going to complain.
No.
Kellie is one of the elder statesmen on the team. Talk a little bit about the season from a player's perspective. We hit on it in that earlier segment how that Concordia loss obviously hurt a little bit, but talk about how you're approaching the last couple weeks and how you feel the season's been going so far.
Well, we have a team goal this year to make the MIAC tournament. We haven't gotten in the past 3 years, so that's a big goal that we really feel will help the team out to get back into that tournament. So that's what we've been focusing on throughout the year. We've had a couple losses on the season, but it's nothing that we can't bounce back from. And we're going into these next couple games, just looking for some more wins and hopefully accomplish that goal.
What do you see? You're one of 4 seniors, and what do you see your role on this team, and how do you approach being one of the seniors?
I think all 4 seniors are great leaders on this team. We work really well together. We've been playing together all 4 years, and I think that just really helps lead the team together, all 4 of us. We all play different roles on the team and our different positions, and everybody brings a little bit to the table to help the team out, and so I think that's great.
Paige, how about you? You come in last year as a freshman, probably kind of sit back and just kind of soak it all in. Mm-hmm. This year as a sophomore, do you see yourself in a little bit different role than last year?
A little bit, just because I played a lot of games last year, so I know. I'm still just a sophomore, but I know a little bit about what's going on, and so I like to think that I'm a little bit of a leader just because I've been around the block for a year. But the seniors we have this year are awesome leaders. They've been playing all 4 years all together, so it's awesome to have that top level up there that know what they're doing for sure. Follow.
Well, Paige, you're hitting over 400 as we tape this. Haley Ohl not too far behind at 386. But not only are you hitting with some power, you've got 28 runs batted in as well, but that average is right up there. And so talk about your approach offensively this year.
In the off season, I worked hard. We had captain's practices that were led by the seniors, and so we'd have our captain's practices a couple times a week. I'd go in, Haley and I would just go in and we'd just hit balls when we just had some free time, just go in and kind of throw the ball around. It's just working on the fundamentals, the little things, and then hopefully they all come together at the right time. Mm-hmm. That's all it really is.
Now, we've learned that Kellie is not a stats watcher. You're an accounting major, so Donnie, we're surrounded by a couple of minds that do well with numbers, mm-hmm. which ours don't.
That's right. I'm glad my computer stats do the totaling for me.
But Paige, do you keep an eye on stats, and if so, which ones?
I don't. I really don't, because you look at them and then you get all freaked out, like, oh my gosh, it's not what I want it to be, and then it gets in your head, and I don't like playing mm-hmm. ball like that. I just play because I like to play.
Right.
You're kind of hurting my feelings.
Because Donnie's kind of a stats guy. But
Kellie, we've been talking a lot about the seniors. Obviously, mm-hmm. we should put some names with the seniors. There's you and Joanna Mangan and Mallory Betzold and Katie Gannon. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the 4 of you have been through a lot in your 4 years. Talk about this spring in terms of weather, because this is probably one of the craziest springs that you've had playing here. How do you stay focused when you've got you play outside, you get a nice 60-degree day, and then yesterday you're practicing inside because it's snowing outside?
I think we stay focused just working together as a team. We know we have that goal and everything, and softball in Minnesota, we've been playing it our whole lives, and you just know that you got to deal with the weather, and that's how you got to go out there and play. And I think our coaches adjust practices as well, going from inside to outside, and give us the days off that we need so that we can re-energize and come back ready to play the next day.
Now, if I remember right, looking at your profile, one of your nicknames is Mom. Is that correct? Or Grandma, one or the other? How did you get a nickname like that?
It might have been Mom. I'm kind of, I guess some of the girls maybe think that I can be a motherly figure sometimes. But I don't know. It's not too serious of a nickname, but yeah.
I'll have to remember that.
Paige, you must look to her for some advice then, right?
I do, yeah. Kellie's a great player. She's a great leader. I'd call her Mom if I had to. Yeah, I definitely look up to her.
One of the questions I've got, and we'll let Kellie answer first, but then Paige, you can pipe in. Baseball players, if you watch professional baseball, they all have their walk-up songs. Mm-hmm. They choose a song, and that's the song that they walk up to. You guys don't have walk-up songs, but you definitely have a cadence or a cheer that you guys all have as you're batting. Mm-hmm. Do you pick those yourself, or does somebody pick them for you, or how does that work?
I think Joanna Mangan came up with mine, actually both of mine. she came up with. And it's kind of everybody just comes up with something else for someone on the team. Everybody has nicknames, so you just come up with a fun cheer to keep the energy going on the bench every at bat.
And Paige, yours has something to do with Pedro, right?
Yeah. We've got some creative minds on the team. Honestly, it's something new every day, something new every game. Someone comes up with something new, and then they make a cheer out of it, and it's
There's some
ridiculous.
very creative ones.
It
There
is.
really are.
They're nuts.
Definitely. Do you have a favorite, Donnie?
Well, I kind of like Katie's, even though I'm not very happy with Katie right now. But hers is pretty good. I think hers is pretty good. So the other thing I was going to ask you, and if people attend a St. Mary's softball game, one of the things that you guys do before the game is I'm assuming as one of the seniors, one of the captains, you all huddle together, then you run around and you're chanting, and then you yell Bulldogs. Now, I know from being here that we're the Cardinals. Do you want to kind of enlighten people in the Bulldog story and what that's all about?
Bulldogs started when Coach Cheeto was the coach for the softball team, and when Miller was on the team. And they thought that Cardinals, well, it's a great mascot. There isn't, a super tough quality
Image,
to the Cardinal. But the Bulldog, whenever put in a fight, it never backs down. Even if it's backed into a corner, it never gives up the fight. And we like to go in with that mentality in every game that we're going to play all 7 innings, even if we're down. Like we saw in Augsburg, we're going to come back fighting, and we're going to win the game.
Now, I have to give you credit because I heard that story from Coach Cheetah 11 years ago, and she hit it right on the head. So that's very good. It is passed down and really hasn't gained anything. It's a neat story, and I think it is very fitting.
Yeah.
Just a few minutes left here in this segment. Let's look at the rest of the season. You're in 4th place right now in the conference. That's where you need to stay to get into the conference tournament. What was your reaction, Kelly, after that loss to the Concordia, after that second game loss? After that first game, it looked like you would dominate the entire day, winning 14-1, but then losing 5-4.
Well, we definitely didn't go into that second game expecting to lose. We wanted to win again, and we felt that we could, but I got to hand it to Concordia. They started picking up their bats, and they came around and played a lot better, I felt, than what they did in the first game. And there's always those games that just don't turn out in your favor. But like you said, we're still in 4th place, and we got a couple of good games that we can get some sweeps out of these next couple of weeks if we play our game.
Yeah. And Paige, other than people like me who keep bringing it up, do you think you guys have kind of forgotten about Concordia and are moving on now and looking ahead?
Yeah, I think, that's the only thing we can do with it now. It's one of those things, all right, yes, it happened. Yeah, it was a bummer, but it's in the past. Got to move on.
Yeah.
Next game.
And Kelly, as a senior now, just to close things out here, since you didn't make the playoffs last year, you said clearly that was a goal coming into the season, and I'm sure that everybody's doing whatever they can to get back there.
Definitely. Our team's putting in a lot of hard work in a couple of practices, and we're really hoping that these next couple of games will show that we're going to stay in the top 4.
Let's hope the snow melts so that you can get them in, right?
First and foremost, exactly.
Yeah, all right, Kelly Simons, Paige Carter, thanks for being on the show, and good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you.
All right, stay tuned. Donnie and I will be back to wrap things up. We'll talk men's and women's tennis, track and field, and more here on the Cardinals Nest on HBC.
Brace yourself.
Good one.
Showtime is taking you over the edge. With shows to shake you up, movies to rock your soul, and heart-pounding sports, all in HD.
Now is the time.
It's time. Get Showtime.
How could I not get it?
Hey, I'm Buddha, inviting you to join me for a brand new show here on HBC TV 25 called Real Attractions. We'll show you trailers from the latest movies to hit theaters and also what's being released on DVD that week. Plus, you have a chance to win free movies by registering at my.hbci.com/realattractions. But you gotta watch to win. So check out Real Attractions here on HBC TV 25, hosted by yours truly, which is why we didn't call it Real Attractive.
And we're back here to wrap things up on this week's Cardinals Nest. Dean Beckman along with Donny Nadeau, and men's tennis action. They have closed out the season, the first spring sport to come to a conclusion, and really it was a good way to end the year as they won 2 of their last 3. And Donny, just to prove how tough the MIAC is, the men's team did not win a conference game this year, yet they go out at the end and beat Mankato, a Division II school with scholarships.
Absolutely, and Coach Hallberg was very, very happy with the way they played in that season finale. And you're right, it's probably the best way that they could go out of the season that they did go in the conference without winning a match, because now they've got this positive energy, this positive momentum, and you know, they've had so many matches this year, and we've talked many times on the show how close they'd come. They'd lose 5-4 with 3 of the 6 singles matches going to 3 sets. Well, they happened again against Mankato State in that 4 of the singles matches went 3 sets, with all 4 of them St. Mary's losing that first set, and they came back. They all 4 times bounced back, won the second set, and then won the super breaker in the third set. And so I think it says something about their team, and you know, they're a bunch of scrappy individuals, and they're battling, and finally they were rewarded for their efforts. And you know, one thing I wanted to bring out, and I hope I have just a quick second here, you got to give Tim Wolford a lot of credit. You know, we've talked, people have probably heard his name a lot. He played on the men's golf team in the fall, was their #2 golfer all season long, played on the men's hockey team in the winter, was one of the, you know, played on one of their top 4 lines, and now in the spring he plays, you know, #2 singles and #1 doubles on the tennis team. He's the only person that we have right now that's a 3-sport athlete, and that's really says a lot about an individual. And as a freshman, for him to be able to do that and carry a 3.3 grade point average, you know, outstanding season for Tim, and he deserves some accolades.
Yeah, we'll get him on the Cardinals Nest next year as a sophomore.
Absolutely.
We usually give him a pass as a freshman,
yep.
But we'll get him on the show next year. A 3-sport athlete, that's incredible. Donnie, women's tennis, they had a couple of non-conference games canceled last weekend, and then came back and lost to St. Ben's 9-0.
Yeah, and right now their biggest problem is they're shorthanded. You know, we talked before that Kellie Edwards has been bothered by a bad back, and now Bailey Edwards broke her left wrist in a fall, and so she's in a cast. So neither of them played against St. Ben's, and when 2 of your top performers aren't in the lineup, it does make it very difficult. And Coach Hallberg is hoping that Bailey will be back for next weekend's finales against you know, their last 2 matches at home next Saturday, and you know, you just don't know, and hopefully she'll be out of the cast and be able to play, because she's really had an outstanding season.
Yeah, Donnie, just a minute left here. Track and field, they're preparing for their home meet next weekend, not this weekend, but the weekend after Easter. How are they looking?
They're looking really well. They did outstanding in the Phil Eston Challenge, and congratulations to Sarah Harstead, who was the MIAC Field Athlete of the Week after re-breaking the conference hammer throw, or the school hammer throw record in getting a 49.64 meters. Outstanding throw for her. She provisionally qualified for the NCAA Outdoors. So a great meet all the way around, and I think that they're hitting their stride as they get ready for that home meet on the 30th.
And just to close things out here on the Cardinals Nest, some non-sporting related activities going on campus. The public is invited to see Jake Leinenkugel speak. He'll talk about the Leinenkugel Brewing Company, 5 p.m. next Thursday, April 28th, and that's in Paige Theater at 5 p.m. Public is invited. Also, the public invited to take a look at the St. Mary's Senior Art Exhibit. The seniors exhibiting their work. It's called Through the Lashes, and that goes through Saturday, May 14th at the Lillian Davis Hogan Galleries. And finally, the St. Mary's Choirs will be performing at 7:30 p.m. Next weekend, Saturday, April 30th, at the Chapel of St. Mary of the Angels, which is on the St. Teresa campus. It's $10 for adults, $5 from students, and you can get your tickets by calling 457-1715 or pagetheater.org. And that's going to do it for the Cardinals Nest this week. Next week's show will be our last of the season, so be sure to join us then right here on HBC Channel 25.